PBA50 UnitedHealthcare Sun Bowl live from the Villages in Florida. Championship round about to start here in just a couple minutes. Craig Elliott along with Hall of Famer Randy Peterson on the call for the Stepladder final. Randy, we've got a pretty impressive top five again this year.
Yeah, we really do. Some great champions. Lennie Boresch pretty much dominated the entire event, but you've got Parker Bohn the third, the second winningest left-hander in the history of the PBA. Sam Maccarone looking for another senior title, and Bob Learn Jr., who will be in our opening match. Bob Learn, a tour champion as well. So some great players. It's going to be a great finale.
We saw Bob Learn actually had a strike in the 10th to make the top five, threw a great shot to go for his, I think, fifth PBA 50 title. John Weber making his final announcements. You got a pick for tonight?
Well, I do, and I think it's going to be a southpaw because of the championship pair 17 and 18. The right-hander struggled on lane 17. There was hang to the right, which we saw earlier, and that same pair 17 and 18, Darin Hayes, a southpaw, actually bowled a perfect 300 game. So I'm going to go with the lefties. It's either going to be Darin Hayes or Parker Bohn the third.
Quite a few 300s this week. Darin Hayes on the championship pair. Parker Bohn has 2 this week, bring his total to 110 PBA 300. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no surprise. And Parker loves this oil pattern. He likes to throw it. And you can be firm on this cheetah oil pattern, and that's exactly what Parker Bohn likes to do. It's in his wheelhouse.
Now, you did pick 2 lefties, but Lennie Boresch actually won his first PBA 50 event in this building in his first tournament.
Well, he's got the good juju going, and it just depends on what his ball reaction is going to be like. On lane 17, the right-handers had no trouble on lane 18. This man here looking for his first career senior title. Darin Hayes, a great player from right here in the Sunshine State, and we watched him bowl 300 on this pair.
Here's a guy that needs no introduction, Mr. 300, Bob Learn Jr.
I think Bob Learn had 110 300 games like in 1995. I mean, not all together in one year, but by the time we got to the mid-90s, Bob, I think, was well over 100 300 games. He's always kept himself in great shape, and that's a huge advantage out here. Bob using a different ball on the left lane. He actually bowled a great game in position round on this pair. He figured out the left lane and took care of Walter Ray Williams Jr., who split 3 times on lane 17.
And that was after 15 full games of round-robin match play with no re-oil. We re-oiled in the last hour, so back on a fresh condition. Should play maybe a little bit different, or are you still going to get the same characteristics on the lane?
Well, you know, I think the reason why there's a little hang on 17 is because of the topography. And you can see that he's a little bit left already on that lane, and this ball goes high. But when the players got the ball to the right for the right-handers, there was hang on that lane.
And that's not usually something you associate with the cheetah pattern, is hang off to the right.
There certainly wasn't any hang on lane 18. Look at this. Wow, great try. Bob Learn looking to slide the 4 over into the 9 and just barely misses it. Advantage, Darin Hayes right out of the gate.
And we saw that all week long. Never seemed to be fazed by anything that was thrown at him. Just kept striking shot after shot. 235 average for the week for Darin Hayes. 9-7 match play record.
Interesting style. He doesn't have a whole lot of knee bend at the foul line. He stands up on it. But Phil, Craig, I think you have a little bit of insight to that.
Yeah, we heard that years ago he was in a pretty bad car accident, and he's got some pins or something like that in his ankle that keeps him from really getting a good strong push off and bending that ankle properly. But he seems to be making it work just fine. And we've seen the 710 a lot this week.
Yeah, we have. And this is a terrible break. If you're Bob Learn Jr., you're like, okay, well, Not so fast, my friend. There's his reaction to the pocket 710. And the trustworthy ball reaction on lane 18. The right-handers know if they get it out, if they get it to the right, it's going to always come back. You can see it's a little bit farther to the right down lane than his last shot on lane 17. See if he makes an adjustment off the 4-9, which I thought was a good shot.
Now, why does Bob keep that left hand down by his side?
You know, it's his style that he's had forever. Man, great shot. He's always started like that. A little reminiscent of Marshall Holman with that low start. You don't see that very often anymore these days, but, you know, that's Bob's way, and it's worked brilliantly for a long time. Some say that Bob Learn was kind of an underachiever when it came to PBA titles on the regular tour. I believe he only had 4.
Yeah, 5 national titles, including the 99 U.S. Open. I was surprised when I read that today myself, that he only had 5 titles. It seemed like for a long time he was on every TV show and just striking like crazy.
Well, this wasn't expected. Pocket 710 and then another open right behind it.
This is Darin's 3rd national PBA50 stop in his career. So to make the show on your 3rd stop, that's pretty impressive, but he's got some work to do now.
Well, as high as the scores have been throughout the week, right now Darin's got to be thinking to himself that I need to start striking and not stop striking. And a nice comeback after back-to-back open frames. Right around first arrow. Lane's playing pretty similar, both left and right.
Darin actually had 2 300s this morning in match play.
Game 4 and game 6. Wow. That'll help you get to the top 5. Learn on the good lane. There you go. Very confident on the right lane. When a player of this caliber knows that he's got left and right, it's not that hard to pry it off your hand. And you know that Bob's using a different bowling ball in the left lane because his other ball that he just used has not come back out of the ball return yet. Look out. Well, he let go of it and wasn't sure what it was going to do, and I think that the end result is probably okay now. I think that's right of where he wanted it, but it had a good enough hand to get it back.
So what kind of move would you expect him to make off this the next shot? Even though it's not where he meant to throw it, he learned something from that shot.
You got a parallel left off of that. You want to be a little inside of that last shot he just threw. Bob with a 21-pin lead, but Darin can cut it to 11. Oh. And it'll remain 21 with a spare here. Head pin, sidewall, and just not enough for the UPS on the 7 pin. You like that, the UPS?
Postage due on that messenger.
There was that was the chant up in Portland, Maine. Anytime somebody threw a messenger, UPS.
We needed a whole book of their chants to keep track of them all. They had a bunch of them, and they were on cue with them all.
It could be like the, what do they call that place? Pobo? Bopo. Bopo. It could be like the Bopo Urban Dictionary of bowling.
And we just gave somebody a great marketing idea for next year. We missed out on that one.
I don't know if, I'm sorry, go ahead, Craig.
We'll have to patent it real quick before somebody gets it.
I think we just did.
Perfect. It's ours.
I don't know if Darin's ball reaction is not great or if it's just him.
That looked very indecisive. And now the confused look.
Well, normally when a player throws a good shot and the ball doesn't do what it's supposed to do, they kind of stand at the foul line and look at it for a bit. And when they throw a bad shot, there's really no need for that.
Bob learned to maintain his lead.
Well, that one didn't get out of his hand very well, and the lead was unusual. Comes in light, leaving swishing 4-7. But he got it to the right spot. It just didn't have the right hand. Thought the scores would be much higher this first game. Bob Learn in position round on this pair, I believe, shot high 220 game. Craig's on it. I want to say it was 227. And it was a really good 227, I believe. 227? What do you got for me?
235.
Never mind.
That's a really good 227.
It was a really good game, and he started off with a couple of 10 pins on that left lane. But take a look at the location of this shot. So that's a couple of boards left of the last shot he threw on that lane, and that's where he wants to play, on lane 17. Right out of his hand. I think this is just all him. And just being a little out of sync, maybe a little nerves. But this is not the Darin Hayes we watched earlier today, that's for sure.
Well, he knows how to win. He's got 16 regional titles, but the first time in his third event here on the national stage, a little bit different. You got the cameras going, the lights going, all the fans here. Look at the packed house we've got here. It's been like this all week here at Spanish Springs Lanes. The Ducat family and the staff done a fantastic job.
As always.
And the announcement was made that this will be a major next year, the PBA National.
I might have to practice for that one.
Uh-oh, you heard it here first.
Well, it's either going to be that or Hawaii. I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll get to that.
I would pick Hawaii.
Just all out of sorts right now and not sure what his ball's going to do when it leaves his hand. And it's interesting because he started out perfect with a double, and Just doesn't look like he's throwing it very well right now.
So if you're Parker Bohn, you're watching the score, what are you thinking?
You know, I don't think this phases Parker at all. I mean, you're talking, and certainly no disrespect to Darin, but you're talking a little different level there. A guy that's been there, that's won 35 times on the regular tour. I mean, that's a whole different breed. You know, you talk about guys like myself who won 13 times on the tour, and then you talk about Norm Duke, Pete Weber. That's another level. Ooh. Darin Hayes' max score now 190. Bob Learn just needs to fill frames with marks. Pretty good shot here. May have been a little firm and just a little late arriving. I remember when I used to have a flat belly like Bob Learn, about 20 years ago. You know, it wasn't long ago, Craig, that Bob had a significant wrist injury. I believe he had surgery. I actually gave him a doctor's name who he went to and then I think got sent to a specialist. But he got the injury, I believe, from chopping wood. And if you look at the pipes on Bob Learn, you could see he could chop a lot of wood. Right now, looking to chop wood here in the 10th. There. Oh, God. That's enough. If he misses it, it's 191. Best Darin Hayes can shoot is 190.
The best showing for Darin Hayes in his PBA 50 career so far, his very short career. Third event, finishing 5th. Got Super Senior Sam Maccarone out of Blackwood, New Jersey, up next for Bob Learn. Randy, you know a little bit about Sammy Mack.
Sammy Mack and I roomed together on tour for many, many years, along with Ron Plumby Jr. out of Erie, Pennsylvania, Bob Learn Jr.'s hometown. And, boy, I've got some great stories about Sam Maccarone, but he was always a gentleman and just a great guy, and he's been a great friend of mine for a long time. Sammy Mack suffering from a bit of a heart ailment that he's been dealing with the last couple of years, but it's great to see him out here and doing well. There's that shot. That's the one that we've been talking about on that lane where you get it to that spot, it just will not pick up.
And that was just a pure test shot for Bob to see what was out there. Now he knows, don't go out there. So coming up next, the 3 seed, Sam Maccarone versus the 5 seed, Bob Learn Jr. PBA 50 UnitedHealthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages. Well, we can't make the introductions any better than John Weber. Here we go. Bob Learn, as we expected. Sammy Mack will have him finish on the right lane.
That's actually the opposite of what we expected.
Oh, yeah, you're sorry.
Sammy obviously has a better look on the left lane, which, I mean, this is surprising. I'll tell you what, if you're Bob Learn, you got to be loving this. Look out. There it is. There's the spot. Parker Bohn the third, all the way down to the low end of the house, practicing, had to back off because he heard the groans. But there is no return from that part of the lane on lane 17, folks. Probably the only lane like it in the building where the ball won't get back from that spot. Which is an even bigger surprise that Sammy Mack is going to finish on that lane.
Just a normal 3 spare to start the game.
How many times do you see 3 spare? All right, here's Sammy Mack. Sam Maccarone used to be from Glassboro, New Jersey. Now I think Blackstone, New Jersey. Probably just down the road. I'm not real familiar with that part of the country, but one of the good guys. Never forget when he won his first title. Ooh, 3, 6, 9, 10. Not so bad, though, on this pattern because of the friction to the right. Let it go, Sammy. Let it go. Pry it off. The words of Patrick Allen, pry it off, Hoss. Pry it off. All right. Let's see what he does on this left lane, guys. Got the whole team here. The A-team, as I like to call it, doing extra frame. Randy, Craig, Jeff, and $2 Phil. Good shot. No time to panic yet. Loves that right lane, and I think it's a huge advantage, Craig, that he gets to finish there.
You got to believe he's feeling the same thing, especially after that first frame on lane 17, and his fill ball did the same thing. And we were talking about Learn's 99 U.S. Open win. He beat Jason Couch, who was here in attendance, helping Sam Maccarone in this second match of the Stepladders.
That one was in a good spot.
Some guy named Randy Peterson finished second in that,
seventh
in that event in 1999.
Yeah, that was my best U.S. Open ever. Yes, sir.
A couple of fans weren't too sure about that one, but Sammy knew exactly that's what he wanted.
Well, that's only because those fans that went, whoa, they haven't been here all week to watch the ball peel off of the outside part of the lane.
That was only the 2 board. I mean, Sammy's, bowled a lot in the 80s where you were peeling off the half board.
Heck, back in the 80s, we played outside of first arrow a lot. I grew up on a gutter shot. Eldorado Bowl, Westchester, California. Oh, no. Can't pry it off. And that was always kind of insult to injury when you go high flush Brooklyn and you leave a 10-pin.
Just another 10-pin in the stat book. Don't know how you left it. Oh, that's got a push.
Well, Sammy's making it interesting early on.
And for Sam, it's not nerves, as we suspected was for Darin Hayes. Sam has a lot of experience. He's got 2 national titles, 2 senior national titles. He's been around for a long time, been in this position before. But that last shot just never got off his hand.
Whoa. 4 and the 9 go down late, but it's 3 in a row for Learn.
Well, and Bob can go full tilt, get everything on it. He really likes that kind of shot. Using his whole body, really getting a lot of leverage from his legs. And just ripping up through it.
Good shot there. Yep. As long as he keeps it from first arrow left, he's got a chance. That 5-6-7 board is how you got to strike on lane 17. There it is, straight up first arrow. And it's real touchy, Craig, when you know that you can't leak it and you're going that straight, it's real easy to pull it.
And Bob can combat that with speed, but Sam doesn't necessarily throw it quite as hard to get away with that, correct?
I agree, yeah. The thing is, though, is that Sammy can actually get it a little bit farther right on lane 17.
Is that because of his more end-over-end type of roll?
It's because he's softer. Good shot here. Now, what kind of shot is he going to throw next? He's using the same ball in both lanes. Oh, it's just a pinch left. Just a little bit inside of target. About the 9 board. Again, he needs to get it in that 5, 6, 7, even 5, 6, 7, 8 to get to the pocket.
We're on a 35-foot PBA50 cheetah pattern. Fair amount of volume up front, but you still got some friction down lane to help get that ball to make the turn. But as you can see, it's pretty touchy.
Just the left lane. Right lane is wide open. And Bob Learn knows it. Boom goes the dynamite on the right lane for Bob Learn. 3 spare, 5 bagger. Gotta love it. Good one there. Yes, sir. Six board, speed, Flush. Great camera angle there. It's been the left lane that's been his undoing, Craig, the lane he chose to finish on.
I think that's a surprise to all of us that he made that decision. Be interesting to hear after what he was thinking behind that.
Has yet to strike on this lane coming up. That's better. Well, he comes back with his best shot of the game on that lane in flat 10s. Max score, if he makes this, 219. Bob Learn's already in the 240s. And looks like Bob Learn is going to cruise to victory and take on PB3, Parker Bohn III. One of the winningest players in the history of our sport. Right now, he just wants to stay dialed in. Putting on a clinic.
Well, and I guess the benefit for Bob now with Parker being left-handed, Bob won't get any practice shots between games, but nothing's going to change.
Yep, he knows exactly what the lanes are giving him now, and his side will not be affected. I'm going to make a prediction, though, and predict that Parker will make him finish on this lane the next game. Whoa, he didn't think that one was getting back, and that was the edge of disaster. Another half an inch right of that, and that ball does not get to the pocket. 3 spare 290? How many times has that ever happened? I bet you that might be the first time it's ever happened to Bob Learn. Yeah, a great week for Sammy Mack.
Well, a good start of the season. He's been up towards the leaderboards on all 3 events here in Florida. He'll make the trip up to Mooresville for the next event, as will all of us. But before we get there, we've got a semifinal match coming up. Bob Learn Jr. versus Parker Bohn III.
Sammy's glad this one's over.
So Darin Hayes finishes 5th. Sam Maccarone finishes 4th. Bob Learn Jr. will finish up here with a possible 290, and Parker Bohn III will be joining him on 17 and 18 for the semifinal match. Coming up next right here at the PBA50 UnitedHealthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages.
championships out here on the PBA50 Tour. PBA and USBC Hall of Famer Parker Bohn coming at you.
Well, a great matchup coming up. And there he is, one of the most prolific players in the history of professional bowling, Parker Bohn III. Another interesting start as Parker is going to let Bob finish on the right lane.
Sure, Bob will say thank you for that. But Parker, he's got both lanes the same, I'm going to guess. He just knows he's going to put up a big number. It's Bob's job to do the same. And, well, that wasn't too bad.
But if Parker has both lanes the same, then you make Bob learn finish on this lane. So I think this is an issue of Parker liking the left lane better. I mean, there's no secret that there's hang on the left lane for the righties. Unless they haven't been watching, Craig. I mean,
maybe not.
You know, you and I and Jeff and Phil, we've had the luxury of being able to watch this pair front and center, and we know what the left lane's doing.
Yeah, if they came up and asked us between games, I'd tell them. But they don't ask us. But the ball reps have been down there watching these matches. They know what's happening.
His last shot in practice on this lane, he went high and left a 6-pin. That much angle and speed and power, you wouldn't think that Parker would ever leave a flat 7, but he did here. Boy, that looks good the whole way. If anything, it looked like he should have shredded the rack and had a messenger come and take it out, but Learn trying to climb the ladder from the 5th position and claim another senior title.
Well, you sure can tell when he likes a shot off his hand. He just starts walking left and watches it go hard into that 1-3 pocket. Still the same strategy, different ball in each lane. That didn't look good off his hand.
No comment. Covers a spare. And an unfortunate break for Bob Learn there, working on a double. Leaves the solid 8. Now Parker with 2 strikes here can take the lead by a pin. There's some action. Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner. Player of the Year a couple of times. 300 on television. He's done everything except sell popcorn during halftime at Extra Fame events.
He would be good at that too.
Changed balls. Ooh, good ball change there. Went to a different ball right after the flat 7 that he left. He says, you know what? I'm not going to leave another one of those. Let me just change it up a bit. And then the 4 goes to the sidewall and takes care of business. Now Learn coming off of the solid 8 on the good lane.
Well, he'd like the ball on lane 18 all day long if he could.
Again, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but guys, Parker lets Bob finish on the right lane. Parker chooses to finish on the left lane and throws one shot and changes balls. This was really fast and a little left out of his hand, and you could see him kind of spin it through the front unintentionally, but it lays there. Now Parker's going with a different ball on the right lane. A couple of light shots that struck. He said, you know what, I didn't like that either. I'm going to go with this same ball on both lanes.
Well, he shot 2 300s with this ball this week. He only used that other ball for 4 or 5 games of the entire tournament. So, you know, he's very confident with the ball roll. Something not quite as aggressive that he can maybe get down a little bit more and not worry about it overhooking.
He's always had such a beautiful swing. A little out to in, tuck in the downswing, just a beautiful move, and he knows what his equipment does. And right now that ball change is looking really, really good. If both players take it off the sheet, Parker will win 280 to 279. And then Bob Learn will look back at that solid 80 left in the third and go, thank you very little. Beautiful. I would say after the last couple of shots, nice ball change. It's a little different follow through there for Parker. You don't see him follow through like that very often. A little bit shorter and more up. Learn on his good lane to keep pace. Well, he let go of this one, put his hands on his head, and then gave it a little curtsy at the end. I'm not sure what he thought it was going to do, but
looked pretty good from here.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, don't give your secrets away, man. Act like it was perfect. Two more shots on this lane for Bob Learn. The pesky left lane for the righties. Real good. And just fired it, gave it the heater. Beautiful shot. So looked like it was right around the 7 board. It was. His mindset is perfect now in that lane. He knows that he doesn't want to go right with it. He just has to find a way to go up the lane with it, and he's doing it beautifully. Now Parker Bohn to keep the heat on. 2 more. He takes back the lead. Oh, vicious, vicious, ringing 7.
A little fast, maybe?
You know, Craig, I mean, I've always said that this is, there's a couple different ways to look at a ringing 7 or ringing 10 for a righty. It could be speed. The ball could sit in the oil just a pinch too long. But, I mean, it looks so good. And when you see Parker run it out like he did, I mean, he had to have loved it out of his hand. He's got to go into the thumb for some tape here. Looks like he had a piece of tape peel up on him. He'll take it out, reposition. He actually took out 2 pieces. He's going to put one back. And then put the other piece back. Oh, he took out 3 pieces. Wow. Tore it in half. It's amazing. It's amazing how sensitive the feel is for us players. I mean, I can feel the difference in a 32nd of an inch in my span. Well, let's see if it's right.
Get that one on a lane a little bit more.
See, to me, from my vantage point, that didn't look near as good as a shot on the right lane. It didn't look like it was out of his hand as well.
No, it looks like he might have hung up a little bit on that one as
Right?
well, but good result.
He's going back to the thumb. You're right, Craig. He didn't clear the thumb very well that last shot, and he's going back into that thumb hole. Now learn to keep the 279 pace going.
Almost like he's playing possum. Both shots. Oh, I didn't like that. They're dead flush.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, his reaction when he lets go of it.
Parker putting in some more work on that thumb. Want it to feel just right. How much change do you guys have in your thumb holes with all the travel? You get different humidities, different climates from week to week?
I think it depends on the player. I get a lot. How about that hit? Learn keeping the pressure on. And now he gets to finish on the good lane, or his good lane, I should say. Yeah, he's doing a really nice job of keeping it between 5 and 7 on the left lane. Parker, to have any chance, needs to strike out. An interesting scenario that's shaping up here. If Parker does strike out, he will force Bob Learn to get the first hit in the 10th. Parker can shoot 259. If Bob Learn goes 9 spare strike in the 10th, he'll shoot 258.
And Bob not happy with his last 2 shots in the right lane. Is he going to throw it where he's meant to the last 2 times?
At least he gets to finish on that lane, you know? Again, getting back to the left and right lane scenario. But right now, Parker Bohn the third, to have any chance, needs to go off the sheet. Beautiful.
Both those shots look much more in control, a lot smoother off his hand, a little bit slower ball speed. Give the ball time to shape, and watch this go through the pins.
This is a game and a form that's withstood the test of time. I mean, Parker's game doesn't look any different than it did 30 years ago.
'53-year-old Parker Bohn III, 3 consecutive Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award wins, 2-time Player of the Year, high average winner, over $3 million in career earnings, 69 total PBA titles in his career. And just chuck that right past the break point.
Didn't see that one coming. You know, and it's never a good thing when you have to adjust tape in the middle of a game. Bob Learn Jr. just needs good count. And he will advance to the title match.
I think maybe just 9 in this next ball. 9-0, it's 246 would be enough for a 1-pin win, but he doesn't want to finish like that. He will not get any more practice, so he needs to dial in this lane 18. Even though he struck the last couple times, he struck every time on this lane. Not happy with the last 2 shots.
Just avoid the big split. There you go.
Bob Learn Jr. will advance to the championship match here at the PBA50 UnitedHealthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages to take on Lennie Boresch Jr.
How good is that right lane? I mean, that was at 7. He's thrown some shots to 2. His pocket on that lane is wider than a typical sinkhole in the state of Florida.
Now, if Lennie lets him finish on that right lane, we should just go down there and just say, hey.
Sam Maccarone just stopped by, and I asked him, I said, why did you let Bob finish on the right lane? He says, well, in practice I had a better look on the left lane. Sammy did not see what we saw. He got fooled. The left lane fooled him, and Bob Learn took advantage of it.
And like we mentioned several times, you see something different from back behind the lanes than you see out there at the foul line, 60 foot from the pins. And that's been the difference in a couple of these matches. So Bob Learn Jr. advances to take on Lennie Boresch Jr. in the championship match here in the Villages.
278, 279, back-to-back for Bob Learn Jr.
I guess Bob Learn figured out something after that first game. Lennie Boresch is
Championship
going to
match
go
up
on
next.
to make 8 warm-ups and a regional tour, and he is a USBC Hall of Famer as well. So Lennie Boresch is going to give Bob Learn all he can handle. Should be a great match, and let's cheer him on, everybody.
Championship match, Bob Learn Jr., Lennie Boresch Jr.
Well, it's obvious that we have no idea what we're talking about, Craig, because Bob Learn Jr. is going to get to finish on the right lane again.
Well,
second 490s left on that lane.
2 4-9s and an 8-pin for Bob Learn on lane 17.
Opening split for Learn. Now it's Lennie Boresch, USBC Hall of Famer. Pretty much dominated this event. His first senior title coming here.
First event as a senior, 2015 champion here at the Villages.
Tell you what, he's a very unassuming player. If you watch a lot of bowling, you would never expect Lennie to do what he does based on style. You know, he doesn't overpower him. He's not real flashy with his style, but all he does is strike.
What's the old saying? Keep it simple, stupid. I mean,
it's his way.
Straight back, straight forward, knock him down.
You know, it's his way, and it works. And he knows his game, he knows his equipment, and he knows how to bowl. He did pick the left lane to finish on, however. This is a beautiful shot for a ring 10. And a good cover on the single pin.
So, Randy, I think we were both surprised with Bob Learn only having 5 national titles, one of them being the U.S. Open. With all of his stats and what he's done, his career earnings, his 4-game scoring record, which is insane, is he ever a Hall of Fame ballot?
Well, he'll never get there on the PBA Tour, unfortunately. Not enough wins to qualify. I can't remember if he's in the USBC Hall of Fame or not. I mean, Bob Learn Jr. is one of the best bowlers. It's, you know, he's in that Ryan Schaefer kind of category. Although Ryan Schaefer's stats in majors much stronger. I believe Ryan Schaefer had 4 titles on the regular tour. Ryan Schaefer has 5. Bob Learn Jr. with 5, but Ryan Schaefer had a major championship resume that was pretty much second to none.
Like 10 second place
for never winning one, right? So.
Well, it will not be another 270-plus game for Bob Learn Jr.
Well, that was a rocket ship that just came out of his hand. Talk about the high, hard one. First arrow. Boom.
Well, we're seeing both these players not happy with the releases on the right lane. The ball just goes dead flush. Got that out to 2. John Weber stand up here at Spanish Springs Lanes.
Boom.
Oh, he loved that. At about 1 foot off his hand, he was walking that one out. We got a match.
There it is. Just a little left of first arrow, and a good hand, and a good result.
Now he's using a much more aggressive piece of equipment than what we see from Bob Learn. Obviously a lower rev rate. What's he looking to get out of that ball?
Well, he's also softer, too. His speed's much slower. Bob Learn now has lost the right lane. So now when he gets it right, it overhooks, whereas before it would just face up perfect. Actually, that shot wasn't all that right. I look for Bob Learn to make a move on the right lane.
Bob's last win, 2015 South Shore doubles event with DJ Archer is his partner. So it's been a couple years for Bob.
Needs to get it going, trailing. Good shot here on the left lane. And a good look, straight up 6. You can tell when Bob's throwing it hard, he stands up on it. And another great shot by Lennie Boresch. He's locked in. I need to see another shot on the left lane, though, before I'm convinced.
Are you convinced now?
I'm convinced. Making shots. That's what he does. Nice shot here by Bob, but he needs to string them all. Really good shot on that right lane. I'm not sure if he made an adjustment or not, but he probably did. Max score 249 for Learn. Needs to keep the string going right here.
You're just going for that Brett Favre high hard one, just jam it in the face mask and knock them all down.
Yeah. It's really hard and really straight on that lane. Keep it in between first and second arrow. Right around the 6 board, 6.5, boom.
Split the 8-9.
Now can Lennie keep the heat on Bob Learn Jr.? Wow. Going about his business the way he normally does. What a performance thus far for Lennie Boresch. Big hit there. 6 taking the 10 out. Big, big hit. Lennie's just a little bit deeper than Bob Learn, and he was looking for that hit from that shot there and got it. Lennie Boresch is in the 240s. Learn max score 249. Bob Learn knows the score, and he knows he needs to strike out to have any chance. Either that or get some help from Boresch, and I'm not sure that's going to happen. Look out. Holy cow. That was the zone. Another fraction right of that, he gets 3.
Little saunter off the approach on that one. He's got away with that on the right lane, but never on lane 17.
So remember, he's been hitting like 6, 6.5. That was about 3.5 to 4. And it peeled off the spot nicely for him.
John Weber, Russ Mills, Stacy Learn.
Look out. Boy, that looked like it was left out of his hand, and it laid there like a frozen rope to the 1-3. That was left. And look at that late kick on the 7. 280 possible. He's in the 250s. He needs a mark in the 10th frame to capture his 3rd PBA50 title. His first coming right in this very building.
Got it out. A little early on the leap, but good hard fist pumps. Lennie Boresch, your winner. What a game.
That was a great react, man. He let go of it, he ran it out, and then he took to the air and got the massive UPS on the 10-pin. Look at that reaction. What a great react.
Do a little dance. Lennie Boresch.
Do a little dance, make a little money, get down tonight. What a way to go. Right here in the Villages, Lennie Boresch. Keep it on the lane, Lennie.
Doesn't matter.
It's the winning shot right here. Look at that.
It's been 4 years since Lennie captured a title here on the PBA50 Tour. That streak is over. Kenosha, Wisconsin's Lennie Boresch Jr., champion 2017 PBA50 Sun Bowl here in the Villages at Spanish Springs Lanes. Great run from Bob Learn, trying to run all the way from the 5 spot up into the championship match. But Lennie is your winner. Back-to-back 270 games for Bob. Coming into this final match, going to finish in the 2 teens or so. It's irrelevant. Lennie Boresch, 264. Another great tournament here in the Villages. Our 3rd event on this PBA 50 season. Start out with 2 events at Lane Glow Bowl. Bob going with the trick shot. Yeah, didn't work so much. Congratulations, Lennie Boresch Jr. Let's get down the lanes here and have a little chat with our winner and see what he's got to say about the win and that little celebration that he just showed us.
All right, everybody, how was that finish? How about a nice round of applause for your champion, Lennie Boresch, and what a great performance by Bob Learn Jr. A big round of applause for Bob climbing the ladder to get to the title match. Well done, Bob. So, Lennie, it all started here for you. Your first PBA 50 victory came in this very building, and now a couple years later, it's title number 3 on this tour. How does it feel?
Oh, I feel so good. I've had 4 seconds in a row being Bohn for the championship, so it's kind of nice. And that, you know, it's always in the back of your head, oh, no, come on, just get one more. And this is the first win with all the big Hall of Famers like yourself that came out, so it makes it even a little more special, I guess. But I just stunned. I mean, probably one of the best weeks of bowling I've ever had.
You know, we kept talking about the left lane for the right-handers and how there was hang, and the right lane was so good. And we saw it when Bob got a 3 count on that left lane. But yet, every opponent that Bob faced, they kept allowing him to finish on the right lane, including yourself. What was behind that strategy?
Because I like to get up. I don't want to have to get up and have to do something intense. So I always do that. It's just what I do. I figured, you know, you got to figure both lanes out to win out here, that's for sure. So that was kind of, I just usually go with that.
What's next for you?
I'm flying out tomorrow to Vegas for the USBC Hall of Fame. Go hang out with some friends with my wife. And on North Carolina. Yeah, awesome.
We'll see you there. Congratulations.
All right, Randy.
Nice
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.